Coronavirus is an infectious disease which spreads very rapidly. So far 124 million worldwide cases of COVID-19 have been reported, out of which 70.5 million have been recovered while 2.73 million people have unfortunately lost their life. Out of these 124 million worldwide cases, most of the cases are reported in United States where more than 30 million people got infected and 543,000 people unfortunately lost their life. Brazil is the second country after United States where the most number of cases, that is 12.1 million cases reported and 299,000 people unfortunately lost their lives. After Brazil comes India, Russia, and France in terms of most number of COVID-19 reported cases. Out of 30 million cases reported in United States, most of the cases, that is 3.6 million, are reported in California, and the death toll in California is 57,909. After California, second most cases are reported in Texas 2.76 million, then Florida 2.02 million and New York 1.79 million. Number of deaths reported in New York are 48,977, which is comparatively higher given the number of positive reported cases. This graph is showing COVID-19 weekly cases per 0.1 million of the population by gender. It shows that female cases reported per week were more compared to men. Number of weekly female infected patients were almost 400 per 0.1 million population compared to 350 infected men per 0.1 million of population during January 2021. Good news is that this curve is now declining, showing that the number of COVID-19 cases are decreasing rapidly. This graph shows the COVID-19 weekly cases per 0.1 million of population by age group in United States. It clearly shows that during the peak of the pandemic wave, most cases reported were of the age group ranging from 18 to 24 years old, shown by the light blue dotted line. Second most reported infected cases were of the age group ranging from 25 to 34 years old. And the third most reported cases were of the age group ranging from 35 to 54 years old. This trend also confirms the fact that this COVID-19 virus is mostly affecting the young and middle-aged people. But the good news is that this trend is rapidly decreasing and curve is flattening during March 2021. This graph shows the COVID-19 weekly cases per 0.1 million population by race in United States. It shows that most of the infected people during the peak in January 2021 were of American Indian and Alaska Native. Second most affected people were white and the third most affected people were Hispanic. Graph clearly indicates that the trend is decreasing, but the virus affected the Hispanic people more compared to others during this month of March 2021, but the curve is again declined during the last few days. This graph shows COVID-19 weekly deaths per 0.1 million population by gender in United States during the period from March 1, 2020 to March 17, 2021. It shows that mostly men were died during the peak of the wave in January 2021 in comparison to women. Good news is that the curve is declining very rapidly during February and March 2021 and the number of deaths have been decreased, which is a good sign. This graph shows COVID-19 weekly deaths per 0.1 million population by age group in United States during the period from March 1, 2020 to March 17, 2021. It clearly shows that most number of deaths happened during the first peak in April 2020 and then during the second peak in January 2021. It is also evident from the graphical trend that most number of deaths were from the age group of 80+ people and second most number of deaths were from the age group of 65 to 79 years. So it is clear that the COVID-19 virus is unfortunately very seriously affecting the old people. This graphical trend shows the COVID-19 weekly deaths per 0.1 million population by race in United States during the period from March 1, 2020 to March 17, 2021. It shows that during the first peak in April 2020, the most number of deaths were from the black people and the second most number of deaths during this first peak were Hispanic. During the second peak in January 2021, most number of deaths were from the American Indian and Alaska Native people. The good news is that the trend has been rapidly decreased since February 2021, which is a good sign. This graph shows the daily count of total vaccine doses administered and reported to the CDC by date administered. It shows that daily count of doses gradually increased since December 2020 till the current month. Though the recent days of March 2021 shows some decline in the number of doses, but that can be due to some reporting delay. So it can be clearly said that the total daily doses are increasing, as CDC also said that the vaccine supply will be increased more in the coming weeks and months. Graph on the left top shows the US COVID-19 vaccine administration by vaccine type. It shows that 64.9 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech, 60.9 million doses of Moderna and 2.4 million doses of J&J Janssen have been administered till March 22, 2021. Graph on the right top shows that 81.9 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech, 77 million doses of Moderna and 4.5 million doses of J&J Janssen have been delivered up till now. Graph on the bottom shows the number of people fully vaccinated in the US by COVID-19 vaccine type. It shows that 22.5 million people were given Pfizer-BioNTech 2-dose. 20.5 million people were vaccinated with Moderna 2-dose. And 2.4 million people were vaccinated with J&J Janssen single dose. This graph shows the daily trends in number of COVID-19 cases in the United States reported to CDC. It shows that daily number of cases have been rapidly reduced since February 2021. And the rapid vaccination of the people can possibly be one of the reasons that this trend has been decreased, and that is a good sign. According to CDC, if the trends go on like this, then the reported cases and the number of deaths will be decreased in the coming weeks. Forecasted trend shows that the weekly deaths will be reduced to 6,000 during the April and May 2021 compared to 8,000 weekly deaths during February 2021. Please like, comment and share the video. And don't forget to subscribe the channel for more regular and well-researched videos from authentic and reliable sources.